I vividly recall the day I first encountered Alex as though it unfolded just yesterday. I found myself nestled in a quaint dive cafe, nursing the most affordable cup of coffee available, attempting to untangle the web of my scattered thoughts and aspirations. That's when he strolled in, akin to a scene plucked from a cinematic masterpiece, albeit devoid of any dramatic lighting or accompanying melodies. Instead, the atmosphere was defined by the gentle jingle of the doorbell and the lingering aroma of stale coffee mingled with his distinct aftershave. "Is the seat taken?" he inquired, gesturing towards the empty chair opposite me with a smile capable of inducing instant infatuation. "It looks free to me," I responded, striving for an air of nonchalance, despite the flurry of excitement his unexpected presence stirred within me. As conversation ensued, it became increasingly apparent that we shared a kinship that transcended mere acquaintance. Our interests aligned seamlessly, from indulging in mindless television series to engaging in spirited debates over preferred pizza toppings. Pineapple, anyone? Fast forward, and we transitioned from casual encounters to a genuine relationship that felt as though it had spanned lifetimes. Before we knew it, discussions of matrimony were underway. Yet, amidst the burgeoning romance, the specter of drama loomed. Alex's parents, a force to be reckoned with, greeted me with thinly veiled scrutiny upon our initial encounter. Their smiles, though ostensibly welcoming, betrayed an underlying assessment of my worthiness. "So, you're the girl Alex can't stop talking about," his mother remarked, her tone tinged with a coldness that sent shivers down my spine. "Guilty as charged," I retorted, masking any semblance of insecurity. However, their insistence on a prenuptial agreement struck a discordant note. While I harbored no ulterior motives, the notion of such a contract felt inherently distrustful. "I'll sign your prenup," I acquiesced, "but under one condition. If infidelity rears its ugly head, the transgressor foots the bill, $100,000. Alex's reaction mirrored a mixture of disbelief and discomfort. Yet I remained resolute. Past experiences had taught me the value of safeguarding against betrayal. We believed this compromise would quell any familial objections, but fate had other plans. One evening, nestled together on our beloved, albeit dilapidated couch, a symbol of our shared history, we found ourselves dreaming of a future beyond our means. Italy beckoned, its allure irresistible despite our financial constraints. "Think about it, Alex," I enthused, envisioning the culinary delights and artistic wonders awaiting us. However, reality reared its pragmatic head. "Our bank account screams backyard camping, rather than romantic Venetian getaway," he quipped, punctuating his words with a playful squeeze. Undeterred, I proposed a strategy of thrift and sacrifice, teasingly targeting his beloved video games as potential casualties. Our banter echoed the essence of our relationship. Dreamers grounded in the practicalities of everyday life. In the midst of mundane chores and playful banter, the topic of starting a family surfaced, a prospect both exhilarating and daunting. "Emily, we need to talk about starting a family," Alex broached, his voice tinged with uncertainty. The weight of the conversation hung in the air as we navigated the uncertain terrain of parenthood, finding solace in the unwavering support of one another. How daunting could it be? I chuckled, a blend of nerves and affection coloring my laughter. Famous last words, babe. That's how it was with us. No matter the challenge, we tackled it hand in hand. Even as Alex's mother began dropping not-so-subtle hints about grandchildren at every opportunity, we maintained our united front. "Emily, darling, when will you give me some grandbabies?" "Time isn't standing still, you know," she'd remark, her tone sugary but her message anything but. I'd plaster on a smile, biting back retorts, and Alex would interject, "Mom, give it a rest, will you? These things take time." Yet, as the months passed, pressure mounted, not just from his mother, but from within. Our desire for a family clashed with the harsh reality of infertility. Ever since Judy, his mother, discovered her newfound hobby of tormenting me, our home transformed into a battleground, her weapon of choice a razor-sharp tongue. One Sunday lunch, as we gathered for what should have been a tranquil meal, Judy barged in uninvited, her presence casting a shadow over the room. "Well, isn't this quaint?" she began, dripping with sarcasm, her gaze sweeping over our modest spread. "Emily, dear, I can see you've been slaving away in the kitchen all morning," she remarked, a smirk dancing on her lips. Attempting to diffuse the tension, I offered a feeble smile, urging her to take a seat. But Judy wasted no time before launching into her assault. "You know, Emily," she began, her voice laced with condescension, "Mrs. Henderson's grandson was just born. It got me thinking, when are you and Alex going to give me some good news?" Heat flooded my cheeks, a mixture of humiliation and indignation burning within me. I sought solace in Alex's gaze, only to find him engrossed in his plate, a feeble attempt at avoidance. "Mom, come on," he muttered weakly. But his lackluster defense only fueled Judy's relentless tirade. "Alex, dear, I don't mean to be cruel," Judy continued, "but you're not running a charity here. You work hard for your money. Why waste it on Emily if she can't even fulfill her basic duties as a wife? A cleaning service and a cook would be far more efficient, don't you think?" Unable to contain my frustration any longer, I spoke up. "Judy, I am trying my best here. It's not like I don't want to have kids. And as for the house and my cooking, well, I didn't realize marriage was a service contract." But my words fell on deaf ears. Judy remained steadfast in her judgment, her criticisms cutting deeper with each passing day. She scrutinized every corner of our home, disparaging my appearance and undermining my role as a wife. With each visit, her comments grew sharper, her disapproval more pronounced. "Is that what you're wearing?" she'd sneer. "A wife should dress to please her husband. No wonder Alex is always exhausted. He has to come home to this." I attempted to defend myself, to reason with her, but it was futile. Judy had made up her mind, and nothing could sway her perception. And in that moment, the realization dawned upon me. I was fighting this battle alone. No matter what I said or did, Alex's stance, or lack thereof, remained the most painful blow. Each night, after Judy's departure, we'd engage in heated arguments. "Why won't you stand up for me, Alex? She's walking all over us, and you're just letting her," I'd plead. "Emily, she's old, set in her ways," he'd respond. "What do you want me to do? Kick my own mom out?" But it was clear this was more than just about Judy's disapproval. It was about us, our marriage, and whether we were strong enough to stand together or succumb to Judy's criticisms. As the days turned into weeks, I realized this wasn't merely a phase. It was a full-blown siege. If we didn't act soon, there might not be anything left to salvage. The strain extended beyond the home front. Alex himself began behaving oddly. It wasn't the typical stress from work. It was something deeper, something that twisted my stomach into knots. It began with the phone calls. Alex, who had always been transparent, suddenly started stepping out of the room every time he received a call, always from the same caller ID, John from work. One evening, trying to keep my voice casual, I asked, "Who's John from work?" Alex flinched, a telltale sign of unease. "Oh, just a new guy at the office. Lots of questions, you know," he replied, but his evasiveness only fueled my suspicions. Then there was his sudden interest in his appearance. Gone were the days of graphic tees and worn-out jeans. Now it was all crisp shirts, slacks, and cologne. "Since when did you care about smelling like a department store?" I teased. "Just felt like changing things up. No harm in that, right?" He replied a bit too quickly. The late nights at work became a regular occurrence. "Another long one, babe." He'd text, promising he wouldn't be late, but the clock would tick well past midnight before I heard his keys in the door. Try as I might, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. That's when I made the decision to hire a private detective. It felt like something out of a bad TV show, but I needed to know for sure. The evidence arrived in a plain brown envelope. Photos of Alex with another woman, their intimacy undeniable, their conversations captured in a recording, leaving no room for doubt. Sitting there, the evidence spread out before me. I felt a cold realization settle in. This was it, the proof that could anchor me in a stormy divorce, should it come to that. But I kept it all a secret, a painful burden I chose to carry alone. I wasn't ready to confront him, not yet. I needed a plan, a way to navigate the wreckage of our marriage with my dignity intact. The following days were a blur. Alex continued his charade, and I played along, the perfect wife with a smile plastered on my face and a heart breaking silently. But then, one day, as I passed by Alex's office, their voices caught my attention. Alex and Judy discussing me. And what I heard changed everything. I stood there, rooted to the spot, a mix of shock and anger boiling inside me. They were planning my exit from this family as casually as one would plan a grocery list. The hurt ran deep, but it sparked something else in me, a burning desire for revenge. They thought they could use me, discard me at their convenience. I'd show them I wasn't just some pawn in their twisted game. A few days later, during a family dinner that felt more like a farce than a meal, Judy brought up her upcoming birthday with the same smirk I had come to despise. "So, Emily dear, what are you planning for my birthday? Something special, I hope?" she inquired, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. I met her gaze, my face a mask of calm. "Actually, Judy, I was thinking of throwing you a dinner at the city's most luxurious restaurant. A night you won't forget," I replied. Her eyes lit up with greed, and she exchanged a quick, satisfied look with Alex. They thought they had me cornered, but little did they know I was already 2 steps ahead. "Emily, that sounds delightful. Just close family, keep it intimate," Judy insisted, her voice saccharine. "Of course, Judy. It'll be our pleasure," I replied, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. The weeks leading up to Judy's 70th birthday felt like a slow march towards D-Day. Every smirk from her, every indifferent shrug from Alex fueled my resolve. The plan was simple yet bold. Host a lavish dinner at the city's most luxurious restaurant under the guise of a loving gesture, then drop the bombshell. But like any good plot, the devil was in the details. The tension at home was palpable the night before the party. Alex, oblivious to the storm brewing, was casually lounging on the couch, scrolling through his phone. "Everything set for tomorrow?" he asked, not looking up. "Oh, you could say that," I replied, my tone belying the turmoil inside. The day arrived, and as guests filled the opulent dining room reserved for Judy's celebration, the air crackled with anticipation. My heart raced, not from nerves, but from the adrenaline of what was about to unfold. As we all settled in, the meal proceeded with forced mirth. Laughs were shared, stories exchanged, and then, as the dessert plates were cleared away, the waiter approached with the final act of the evening, the bill. Without missing a beat, I handed over my card, the gesture unnoticed by most. It was then Alex, with a smirk that didn't reach his eyes, decided to drop his bombshell. "Emily, I think it's time everyone knew. I'm tired of this of us. I want a divorce," he declared. The words hung in the air, a toxic cloud suffocating all other noise in the room. Before I could even process the full weight of his statement, Judy piped up, her voice sharp and unforgiving. "Well then, since that's out in the open, I think it's best you leave, Emily. We're celebrating family tonight, and well, you're no longer part of it." The room went deadly silent. Every eye was on me, waiting to see how I'd crumble. But I didn't. With a calm I didn't feel, I stood, nodded, and walked out without a word. The cool night air hit me like a slap as I made my way home. By the time I reached his apartment, a plan formed. I packed my essentials, the numbness giving way to a cold resolve. This was it, the end of one life and the start of another. As I zipped the last suitcase, my phone started buzzing, a relentless, insistent vibration that I initially ignored. But curiosity got the better of me. Judy's voice screeched from the other end, demanding I fix the payment issue. The sweet irony of it all. In my preparations for the inevitable, I had secured my exit strategy. I stood there, rooted to the spot, a mix of shock and anger boiling inside me. They were planning my exit from this family as casually as one would plan a grocery list. The hurt ran deep, but it sparked something else in me, a burning desire for revenge. They thought they could use me, discard me at their convenience. I'd show them I wasn't just some pawn in their twisted game. A few days later, during a family dinner that felt more like a farce than a meal, Judy brought up her upcoming birthday with her trademark smirk. "So, Emily dear, what are you planning for my birthday?" "Something special, I hope," she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. "Actually, Judy, I was thinking of throwing you a dinner at the city's most luxurious restaurant. A night you won't forget," I replied, meeting her gaze with a mask of calm. Her eyes lit up with greed, and she exchanged a quick, satisfied look with Alex. They thought they had me cornered, but little did they know I was already 2 steps ahead. "Oh, Emily, that sounds so delightful." "Just close family, keep it intimate," Judy chimed in, her voice oozing fake sweetness. "Of course, Judy. It'll be our pleasure," I replied, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. The weeks leading up to Judy's 70th birthday felt like a slow march towards D-Day. Every smirk from her, every indifferent shrug from Alex fueled my resolve. The plan was simple yet bold: host a lavish dinner at the city's most luxurious restaurant under the guise of a loving gesture, then drop the bombshell. But like any good plot, the devil was in the details. The tension at home the night before the party was palpable. Alex, oblivious to the storm brewing, was casually lounging on the couch, scrolling through his phone. "Everything set for tomorrow?" he asked, not looking up. "Oh, you could say that," I replied, my tone belying the turmoil inside. The day arrived, and as guests started to fill the opulent dining room reserved for Judy's celebration, the air was thick with anticipation. My heart raced, not from nerves, but from the adrenaline of what was about to unfold. Judy, ever the queen bee, basked in the attention, lavishing in the luxury of her surroundings. "Oh, Emily, you outdone yourself. This place is exquisite," she exclaimed, her voice loud enough for nearby tables to hear. As we all settled in and the meal proceeded with forced mirth, laughs were shared, stories exchanged. Then, as the dessert plates were cleared away, the waiter approached with the final act of the evening, the bill. He leaned in discreetly, informing us the dinner cost was $33,000. Without missing a beat, I handed over my card, the gesture unnoticed by most. It was then Alex, with a smirk that didn't reach his eyes, decided to drop his bombshell. "Emily, I think it's time everyone knew. I'm tired of this of us. I want a divorce," he announced, his words hanging in the air like a toxic cloud. Judy wasted no time in adding her poison. "Well, since that's out in the open, I think it's best you leave, Emily. We're celebrating family tonight, and well, you're no longer part of it." The room went deadly silent, every eye on me, waiting to see how I'd crumble. But I didn't. With a calm I didn't feel, I stood, nodded, and walked out without a word. The cool night air hit me like a slap as I made my way home. The finality of everything that had happened washed over me in waves. By the time I reached what used to be our shared home for the last time, a plan had formed. As I stepped through the door, the air crackled with tension, thick enough to cut with a knife. Alex and Judy were there, looking like they'd been arguing. "You've got some nerve showing up here after last night," Alex spat out, his face a mix of anger and disbelief. "Ungrateful wretch. You've embarrassed us in front of the whole city," Judy added, her voice sharp and unforgiving. But my mind was made up. I tossed the divorce papers on the table, the photos of Alex's infidelity on top. "You should be more concerned with this," I said, my tone steady. The color drained from Alex's face as he picked up the photos, his mother peering over his shoulder. Their outrage turned to shock, then to panic as they realized the extent of what I had. "And let's not forget the prenup, shall we?" I continued, my voice cold, final. "You cheat, you pay. $100,000 to be exact." Judy's face twisted into a snarl. "You wouldn't dare. You can't do this to us." "Oh, but I can, and I will," I replied, my tone unwavering. The begging turned to pleading, their words a desperate scramble to salvage what they could. But my mind was made up. In the end, Alex had no choice but to borrow the money from his parents to pay me. As I left that house for the last time, check in hand, I felt the weight lift off my shoulders. After everything, I used the payout from Alex to put a down payment on a small but cozy place of my own. Life's quieter now, and I like it that way. Every once in a while, the grapevine tosses a juicy bit my way about Alex and Judy. But these days, it's just another piece of someone else's story. Life's simpler, quieter, and infinitely sweeter on this side of chaos.